9.
Serving Oregon and Southern Washington, this is Oregon Public Broadcasting.
Funding for local broadcast of the Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following.
SAFE Corporation, managing the human and financial cost of workplace injuries. SAFE Corporation, on the job for Oregon.
Copper Mountain Trust, the Northwest's largest independent trust investment and advisory company. The companies of CNF Transportation, Emory Worldwide, Conway Transportation Services, and Menlo Logistics. CNF Transportation, where ideas carry weight.
They hope it's a prescription for success. Monsanto and Pharmacia and Upjohn announced a $27 billion merger deal, but Wall Street thinks it may be bad medicine. Good evening, I'm Paul Kangas.
And I'm Linda O'Brien. Susie Garib is off tonight. The NASDAQ Composite Index continues to defy gravity, tacking on another 30 points to its 55th record of the year. The Dow fell 113. Then they're the computer equivalent of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Y2K solutions that cause more problems than they solve.
Nightly Business Report is brought to you by Compaq, makers of compact non-stop e-business solutions for companies who know that the online world never stops, so their information systems can't stop either. Franklin Templeton, serving investors for over 50 years. Franklin Templeton and Mutual Series, investment products distributed by investment professionals. The financial consultants of A.G. Edwards, committed to making investors comfortable with their investments, with their futures. A.G. Edwards, be comfortable. And is produced in association with Bridge, the global financial information company, providing real-time and historical market data, analysis, and news.
Good evening, everyone. Well, it's another Monday of mega mergers on Wall Street. 3 multi-billion-dollar deals are in the works tonight. The biggest is in the pharmaceutical sector, where Monsanto is merging with Pharmacia and Upjohn in a $27 billion deal. But while the CEOs are keen on the deal, investors are not. Shares of both companies fell in trading today. Jeff Yasteen reports.
For Pharmacia and Upjohn, the deal gives the drug maker access to Monsanto's line of blockbuster drugs like the arthritis medication Celebrex. For Monsanto, the deal is a chance to become larger and better able to compete in a rapidly consolidating pharmaceutical sector. The merger would create an as-yet unnamed new company. Monsanto would control 51%. Pharmacia and Upjohn CEO Fred Hassan would be president and CEO of the new company, while Monsanto chief Robert Shapiro would become chairman of the board for the first 18 months. Afterwards, Hassan would assume that job as well. Additionally, Monsanto is proposing a spin-off of its depressed agricultural chemicals business and a sale of 20% of the business and an initial public offering. Monsanto would use the money to pay down debt. Overall, most analysts seem to think the combination would work reasonably well, but concerns remain about potential share dilution and about the potential drag from Monsanto's agricultural chemicals business.
Well, it's been a drag on earnings, and near term, looking forward, it will probably continue to be a drag on earnings. And Monsanto didn't manage to separate that portion of the business out of the new firm. So for the next 2 or 3 years, I think the new firm will be adversely affected by the agrochemical business.
The architects of the deal, though, think it's a good one.
This was a terrific opportunity because this is a merger driven from strength. We have 2 fast-growing pharmaceutical companies here, and by putting them together, we can create tremendous positive synergies. We can have tremendous growth in the top line. As it is, both are fast-growing companies, but we can grow even faster because both companies are somewhat subscale, and by combining our resources, we can maximize the value of products in the pipeline. We also have some opportunities for cost avoidance because we don't have to invest in infrastructure going forward, and we have some opportunities for cost reduction because we can eliminate some duplications and redundancies. So overall, it's going to be a terrific merger, and I think our shareholders are going to be very pleased with the increase in our value.
Mr. Shapiro, why should this particular proposal work out better than the one with American Home Products, which was not successful?
Well, the business logic of this transaction, I think, is compelling. As Fred has described it, we're going to create a top-tier pharmaceutical company that is going to be one of the fastest growing in the industry, with strong R&D, strong marketing, and a great pipeline of products. But I think the direct answer to your question is we're going to make this work because the boards of directors are committed to making it work, and because Fred Hassan is going to lead us into a unified and integrated company. Fred has been through mergers before. He's had an enviable and successful record of leadership, and as CEO of the combined enterprise, he's going to make it work.
Now, the announcement also is that there will be a partial IPO of Monsanto's agribusiness unit. Is that a prelude to perhaps a full sell-off of that particular unit?
All of us, from the board on through Fred and myself and all the executives of both companies, are very impressed with the growth potential of our ag business. It's an industry-leading business. It's profitable today. It's growing rapidly, and it's going to continue to grow. The purpose of the IPO is to unlock value by giving share owners transparency and visibility into that very dynamic business unit.
Our guests, Fred Hassan, CEO of Pharmacia Upjohn, and Robert Shapiro, Chairman and CEO of Monsanto.
Another mega merger to tell you about. This one creates North America's biggest railroad. Burlington Northern Santa Fe plans to combine with Canadian National Railway in a deal analysts value at about $9 billion. The new company will be called North American Railways, and it will operate 50,000 miles of track. The terms of the deal are fairly complicated, but offer no premium to shareholders of either company. Analysts are giving the deal their thumbs up anyway.
There's little doubt that in generating $500 to $600 million of extra operating profit for the combined entity a few years from now, that it will enhance shareholder value. And from the second viewpoint, that being the shippers, with it primarily being an end-to-end merger, it should improve the service reliability.
Lloyd has buy ratings on both Burlington Northern and Canadian National, but investors didn't think the deal was on track. They sent Burlington Northern stock lower, closing down 3 9/16 at 24 13/16. Canadian National Railway is traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange.
And Honeywell is making its first purchase since its recent merger with Allied Signal. It's buying Pitway, a maker and distributor of security and fire systems. The acquisition beefs up Honeywell's home and building control business. Honeywell will pay $45.50 a share for Pitway and assume $167 million of Pitway's debt. That gives the deal a $2.2 billion price tag.
Once again, bolstered by strong buying demand for technology stocks, the market opened higher this morning with the Dow Industrial Average posting a 40-point gain at 10:30 a.m., while the NASDAQ index surged 35.5 points into new record high ground. The early blue chip rally faltered throughout the rest of the morning, thanks in part to a sharp drop in Honeywell stock in reaction to that $2 billion buyout of Pitway. And hardly helping was the fact that both Monsanto and Pharmacia fell in reaction to their merger. At noontime, the Dow was off 56.25 points, but the NASDAQ index was still holding on to a 28.5-point gain. The technology sector held its own throughout the afternoon, but the blue chip stumbled on selling related to year-end tax considerations and caution ahead of tomorrow's Federal Reserve policy meeting. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell to a closing loss of 113.16 points, putting it at 11,144.27. In today's 199-point trading range, the industrial average closed up only 33 points from the worst level of the session. The NASDAQ Composite, however, came in with a gain of 30.81 at another new high of 3783.87. In its 54-point trading range, the composite settled 18 points below its best level of the day. Big board volume down considerably from Friday's record pace, 905.25 million shares today, and about a 5-to-4 ratio of down volume over up volume. The Dow Transport Index fell almost 34 points, utilities off 0.44. The closing ticked slightly bearish at minus 340. Standard & Poor's 500 fell nearly 3, a loss of 2 2/3 points on the 100. Mid-cap 400 rose 1.18, and the Bridge Futures Price Index edged up 0.62. New York Stock Exchange Composite down nearly 2 1/4 points, about a 1 1/3 point drop on the value line. Russell 2000 managed to gain almost a point, while the Bradley-based Wilshire 5000 was down nearly 2.5. The bond market fell broadly today on fears that short of raising interest rates tomorrow, the Federal Reserve might adopt a tightening bias. That was also part of the reason why the weekly Treasury bill auction went poorly, and upon seeing that, sellers became more aggressive, sending tax-free and corporate issues to closing losses of 3/8 to a half point on average, while the Treasury market also had a bad day on the downside. 5-year notes losing 9/30 seconds, the 10-year notes down 14/30 seconds, bellwether 30-year bond down 22/30 seconds, bringing the yield all the way up to 6.44% now, and the Lehman Brothers long-term Treasury bond index fell almost 10 points. I'll be back shortly to show you where the action was on Wall Street today. Linda?
Well, Paul, Japan is still trying to get its economy on a firmer footing. The finance ministry today proposed an almost 4% increase in spending for next year, hoping to strengthen the nation's recovery from its worst recession in decades. But as Lucy Kraft reports from Tokyo, the outcome is far from certain.
Japan's public works spigot is running full blast, and analysts agree more fiscal first aid will be essential to keep the economy afloat next year. That adds up to a whopping 8% of GDP lavished on bridges, dams, highways, and other public works projects to make up for sagging corporate and consumer demand. Money that would be more sensibly spent, critics say, on future technologies and startups and easing the workforce into new industries.
The problem with pouring all this money into useless investments is that, first of all, it fools people into thinking that they have a job when, in fact, they're really unemployed and simply the government is giving them some kind of welfare payment. So it discourages people from looking for a real job or to seek retraining.
With personal income under stress from corporate downsizing, bears foresee continued shaky or even negative growth next year.
In terms of domestic demand, the situation is still quite severe. There are a lot of companies that are simply hanging on and will eventually go bankrupt. So we're not really on the verge of a very nice recovery. There's still a lot of structural pain to go through before that.
But bulls say continued injections of public money, along with deregulation and corporate restructuring, have put Japan on a solid recovery path.
We expect policy stimulus and the more efficiency in the market through structural reforms should bring a sustainable recovery over the next year.
A key concern for policymakers in the coming months, the strengthening yen. Another surge in the value of the yen against the dollar could torpedo Japanese exports and derail Japan's fragile economic recovery. Lucy Kraft, Nightly Business Report, Tokyo.
Another one of those truly mixed days on Wall Street. The blue chips moving lower and the high-tech NASDAQ moving higher, off 113 points on the Dow. And for every 13 stocks higher, there were 18 lower in the broader market. Only 87 new yearly highs as against 306 new lows. Topping the active list was Tyco International on 14 million shares, down 1 5/8. That could be some of that year-end tax loss selling. That stock was as high as 53 earlier in the year. Then Pharmacia and Upjohn losing 3 1/4 on the merger news. America Online slipped in there, the 1-point gain. And then Monsanto, the other merger partner for Pharmacia, down 5 1/8. Philip Morris, 5th in volume, rose 1/4. Compaq Computer edged up 3/8, while Cendant lost exactly that much. Citigroup in there with a loss of 1 3/16. Honeywell International tumbling 7 1/4 after that Pitway purchase, going to be $2.2 billion in cash. Pitway, incidentally, was up nearly 16 points at 44 15/16. Lucent Technologies, 10th in volume, was up 2 5/8. Aetna fell 1 1/2 after Merrill Lynch downgraded it from accumulate to near-term neutral. And DuPont, one of the bigger losers in the Dow today, off nearly 4. The chemicals were on the weak side. Morgan Stanley Dean Witter up nearly a point, traded as high as 132 5/8 this morning after reporting sharply higher fourth-quarter earnings. $2.84. The street estimate was only for $1.96. And Morgan Stanley also announced it's going to split the stock 2-for-1. Progressive Corp, the big insurance company, dropping almost 6 points. The company's going to boost its loss reserves by $33 million in the fourth quarter due to Hurricane Irene insurance claims, and the company expects earnings to fall well below the 83-cent Wall Street estimate. Safeguard Scientific up 16 points. Robert Baird Brokerage upgraded it from market perform to short-term outperform, and Sotheby's Holdings rose 3 7/8 after Morgan Stanley increased its 99 earnings estimate and repeated an outperform rating. MMI Companies, little insurance firm with a big gain, up 4 13/16 on news it'll be acquired by St. Paul Companies for $10 a share in cash. NFO Worldwide, this company's in the marketing information services business, going to be acquired by Interpublic Group for stock worth about $26 a share. SK Telecom Company Limited of Korea up 6 1/4 points. The company's going to take a controlling stake in its major rival over there, Shinsegae Telecommunications, that'll own about 52%. Allen Telecom rising 1 3/4. Nortel Networks has awarded the company's forum division $45 million in contracts. LaSalle Re Holdings insurance firm up 1 1/8. It's going to be acquired by Trenwick Group for stock worth about $15 a share. And one of the few big percentage losers, Steris Corp, dropping 2 1/2. Company expects third quarter earnings to be about 4 to 6 cents below its second quarter earnings of 21 cents and well below the Wall Street estimate of 28 cents a share. NASDAQ trading a gain of almost 31 points to the 55th record high of the year. Trading volume 1.317.9 billion shares. That's about 249 million below last Friday's pace, 18 stocks higher for every 23 lower. Qualcomm topped the active list, hitting a new high with that gain of over 11 points. Qualcomm has announced it'll split its stock 4-for-1. Dell Computer up 2 1/8, getting a boost from J.P. Morgan, which upgraded it from market perform to buy and has a $65 a share target. Yahoo up 19 1/2. Microsoft down 2 1/2. Then Cisco Systems rose 3 9/16, fifth in dollar volume on NASDAQ. Oracle up 5 5/8. It announced it's splitting its stock 2-for-1. Intel dropped a point, but Internet Capital a 22-point rise. Friday got a boost from Lehman Brothers, which began covering the stock with a buy recommendation and a $200 a share target. Sun Microsystems edged down 11/16, and Amazon.com at 97, up nearly 3. Juno Online Services up 12 5/8. The company is broadening its internet access offerings. Genome Therapeutics gaining 4 points. The story here, the company got an undisclosed amount of cash infused for asthma research from Shearing Plow. And Lazon dropping 11 7/8 on a fourth quarter earnings warning from the company. The American Exchange Index up 1.35. Show Power had a big percentage gain, rising 1 5/16. It'll be acquired by General Electric Power Systems for $7 a share in cash. And Lynch Interactive up 7 1/8. None other than Bill Gates has taken a 17% stake in this company, which is run by Mario Gabelli. And finally, the index shares put in a mixed performance today, with the diamonds and spiders lower because of the blue chip sell-off, but the NASDAQ 100s rose 2 points. As we've mentioned, tomorrow all eyes will be on the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee meeting in Washington. And joining us now to talk about prospects for a change in interest rates is Bridge Monetary Policy reporter Deborah Lagomarsino. And welcome, Deborah.
Thanks, Paul.
The overwhelming consensus among the experts is that the Fed will vote not to hike interest rates at tomorrow's meeting. Is there even the slightest chance that the consensus may be wrong this time?
Not much. Our latest poll showed that no one is really looking for a rate hike. However, they do see a 60% chance the Fed will indicate it is leaning towards raising rates in the future and shift to a tightening bias because of this red-hot economy. Also, interestingly, today, traders in the federal funds futures market now see a 100% chance the Fed will raise rates by 25 basis points in February. So while they may be on hold now, Paul, it's certainly not going to last.
Are they on hold now? Is a major influence causing that the looming Y2K date?
Many believe so, primarily because, number one, liquidity at this time of year really dries up in the markets, with many traders on vacation, leaving, and pretty much closing their books. Analysts say they really just don't want to be responsible for rocking the boat and really potentially making a big splash in the markets at this time of year, and just to take out any uncertainty. So that is seen really the prevailing factor keeping them on hold. And also, we just don't have a lot of signs of inflation right now that would be pushing them, also making them feel more urgent, a more urgent need to act now.
Well, I know some of the experts are worried about the high rate of money supply growth, but they want to keep the economy in cash as we get through Y2K. That's one of the reasons they're not tightening now.
That's right. And it's really seen also from people I've talked to as a special factor. largely because central banks are increasing their cash reserves primarily to just have some on hand should we see a lot of consumer demand. So it really is seeing demand from banks versus demand from consumers. And really the bigger heartburn that I'm hearing from people that the Fed is experiencing now is this breakneck pace of economic growth and the fact that the unemployment rate continues to fall while the economy continues to speed ahead, and many see this as really unsustainable.
Okay, so don't worry now, worry in February.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Very good. Deborah, thanks very much. We appreciate your comments regarding the meeting tomorrow.
Thanks, Paul.
My guest, Deborah Lagomarsino of Bridge News.
Tomorrow, New Year's resolutions for the economy and for Wall Street. The days to the new year are counting down to a precious few, and fears of Y2K computer problems are turning to fears of Y2K virus attacks. Can you avoid them? Well, Scott Gervey has some advice in tonight's Y2K Update report.
Fears of potential Y2K computer problems are being replaced with fears that troublemakers will see in Y2K an opportunity for mischief. As the internet has spread and become an integral part of society, it has, not surprisingly, also developed a criminal element. Computer virus programs spread from machine to machine, authors exploiting any connection they find. Some are written as pranks by people who consider it a challenge, but others do it to steal or destroy information or keep you from using your computer. Usually virus writers want notoriety, but Y2K has brought out a different kind of bug.
What virus writers are doing now is writing viruses that look like there'll be a problem with their computer. So as a victim of the virus, you will have a level of doubt as to whether you've had a virus or whether you've just had a failure.
If your computer starts acting strangely on January 1st, it might just be infected by that stealthy kind of virus. The virus writers are also taking advantage of Y2K fears by disguising their work as programs designed to test and repair problems.
There was a virus around about a week and a half ago or so called the Babylonia virus, and that was an example where there's a chat forum on the internet, and that particular one was sitting there and was masqueraded itself as a Y2K fix. So straight away people will come and download it and think, that's the fix for me, I need that. You're infected.
The only way to avoid that kind of infection is to practice safe computing. Do not download programs from internet chat rooms. Download only from trusted sites. Those sites will often send along a certificate to verify the identity of the program's source. It pays to learn how to use them. Computer Associates, one of the world's largest software makers, has free Y2K test and fix programs on its website at CAI.com. Scott Gervey, Nightly Business Report, New York.
And recapping tonight's market action, the Dow fell 113 points and the NASDAQ gained 30 to another record high. Please join us at our worldwide website, NBR.com, or on America Online, keyword NBR.
And finally tonight, My nightly business report colleague right here is being honored as one of the century's most important business journalists. Linda O'Brien is among 100 people named as those who contributed most to business journalism over the past 100 years. Linda began NBR as a local program 20 years ago, guiding our growth to become the most watched business and financial program on television. The All-Century Award is administered by the TJFR Group, a publisher of periodicals about business journalism. And Lyndon, you are really in great company. Henry Luce of Time Magazine, Marshall Loeb of Fortune. My heartiest congratulations and well-deserved congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. And it really is a recognition for the staff of this program that make it possible and have so for almost 21 years now.
Takes a leader to make success, though.
Well, thank you so much. And that wraps up Nightly Business Report for Monday, December 20th. I'm Linda O'Brien. Good night, everyone, and good night to you too, Paul.
Good night, Linda. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report is produced in association with Bridge, the global financial information company providing real-time and historical market data, analysis, and news. And is made possible by the financial consultants of A.G. Edwards, committed to making investors comfortable with their investments, with their futures. A.G. Edwards, be comfortable. Franklin Templeton, serving investors for over 50 years. Franklin Templeton and Mutual Series, investment products distributed by investment professionals. Compaq, makers of compact non-stop e-business solutions for companies who know that the online world never stops, so their information systems can't stop either. And by the financial support of viewers like you. Your personal computer can put you on a par with Wall Street pros. Find out how from Log On to Investing, NBR's award-winning video guide to online trading and research. To order by credit card, call 1-800-535-5864.
Funding for local broadcast of the Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following.
SAFE Corporation, managing the human and financial cost of workplace injuries. SAFE Corporation, on the job for Oregon.
Copper Mountain Trust, the Northwest's largest independent trust investment and advisory company. The companies of CNF Transportation, Emery Worldwide, Conway Transportation Services, and Menlo Logistics. CNF Transportation, where ideas carry weight.
I'm Chris Jussel, inviting you to the Antiques Roadshow.
She wrote a letter that inspired the phrase, "Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus."
This photograph is a very important photograph.
Won't you join us as we search for America's hidden treasures?
It's an extraordinarily rare piece.
It's a wonder I didn't put it out for a garage sale.
So how much would you think an ugly teapot of a snake might be worth?
That's the Antiques Roadshow this week from Phoenix, Arizona.
On OPB, tonight at 8. Join Oregon's finest jazz pianist, Tom Grant, and guests Patrick Lamb, Bobby Torres, and the renowned Joey DiFrancesco for an evening of upbeat Christmas tunes, Wednesday at 10:30. Funding for this evening's programming on OPB has been provided by viewers like you and by
Entech International, creators of microporous membrane and battery separator materials. Entech International, leadership, commitment, and innovation worldwide.
Our forecast tonight for OPB weather, fog west at times in some of the valley areas, otherwise clear skies.